The Switch 2 finally released. It was quoted as the worst thing for the industry since Battlefront 2. Mario Kart Worlds priced at $80, another $10 price hike. Gamers were outraged. The Nintendo Switch 2, a console so mired in controversy that if you had the misfortune of opening Twitter, you would think that Nintendo personally kicked every user's dog and then charged $80 for the experience. And with all that hate and controversy surrounding this console, I'm pretty sure it was boycotted successfully. I mean, we had YouTubers, TikTokers, and Twitter users all boycotting it, saying they would never get the console. I mean, with $80 games, really expensive accessories, the new user agreement that allows them to brick your console, and really that $80 price tag from Mario Kart Worlds, so many people were freaking out and swearing to boycott this system. There's no possible way that anyone actually bought this system, especially YouTubers, right?
Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and let's just talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. I made a mistake. I ended up buying that Nintendo Switch 2.
The Switch 2 is one of the best console launches of all time, and is regarded as Nintendo's fastest selling console ever. It sold 3.5 million units in 4 days. 3.5 million in 4 goddamn days. If you were on YouTube, TikTok, or God forbid Twitter in the last couple of months, and you were paying even a little attention to Switch 2 or Nintendo news, you would have gotten swamped with hot takes, rants, and moral crusades about how we all need to boycott the Switch 2. That the price of Mario Kart, hell, even the system itself was too expensive. We even saw that Nintendo's own Treehouse event, how people reacted to the price hikes of games. And to be fair, they were rightfully angry. $80 games do suck. And a lot of people knew what that meant going forward. We were about to get hit with a whole wave of $80 titles. Obviously, that was a bit overblown. Nobody actually raised their prices. Oh, god damn it, Michael! Alright, so why didn't the boycott work? Was it because people folded and bought it anyway? Was it the FOMO, seeing your friends that were all going to be playing it and not wanting to be the one left out? Was it because the system itself is a genuine upgrade from the last one? Or was it the first-party exclusives that people really love when it comes to Nintendo games? Maybe it was all of that. But here's the thing. We're forgetting about the average consumer. If you're watching this video, you probably live online, Reddit, Twitter, Discord, the gamer brain soup. But the average Nintendo buyer, yeah, they're not deep diving Reddit threads about digital-only DRM policies. They're not watching an angry 30-minute breakdowns about upgrade fees or whether the Switch 2 is using last-gen tech. They're looking at the shiny new Nintendo console and buying it for themselves or their family, and that's it. End of story. I mean, the average schmuck has way worse stuff to worry about. If you've seen the news lately, it's like every day we're living through some Avengers-level threat, and most people are just trying to survive. The last thing they care about is whether Nintendo is charging too much for video games. If anything, they want to buy the damn thing more just to unplug from this hellscape outside. I bet if I ask random people on the street right now and ask people about the Switch 2 boycott, they're either not going to know what I'm talking about, or they'll shrug and just say, yeah, but the new Mario looks fire. What do you think about the Switch 2 boycott?
I think it's disgusting, just like how you like to fart on puppies.
Then there are the people who did hear about the boycott through a YouTube video or a TikTok talking about how Nintendo was being really greedy and still bought it anyway. But not me. I stand by my morals. I will never buy a Switch 2. Nintendo, they're the worst, greedy, goddamn son of a bitch! Wait, this is not Switch 2, it's a... Don't look at me like that! Okay, but why are people still buying it? Because it's FOMO. It beats out frustration almost every single time. It's the same goddamn reason people line up for iPhones every year while calling Apple greedy in the same breath. People love Nintendo. They're not just selling games, they're selling you nostalgia, the childhood memories, the exclusives, the safe for the whole family image. I could spend an entire video calling Nintendo anti-consumer, and someone in the comments will still go, yeah, but that new Mario game looks fun though. But here's the thing. We've been through this song and dance many, many times with video game boycotts, and they pretty much never work, like ever. Let's rewind the clock a little bit. Do you remember the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 boycott? Well, if you don't remember, back in 2009, people were pissed about the recycled assets, broken spawn systems, lag compensation, and the whole Activision is just copy and pasting yearly releases. It's almost like nothing changes with this company. Steam even had a boycott group with thousands of members pledging not to buy the game. Launch day rolls around. People dug through the Steam friends list of the boycott group, stopped and caught tons of them playing it, like caught in 4K. Then there was the Left 4 Dead 2 boycott in 2009. And this was a little messy. Gamers were furious that Valve was releasing a sequel just a year after its first game. Many felt abandoned it, like Valve had promised an ongoing support for Left 4 Dead 1, and then yeeted it into the void. A whole boycott movement sparked up on Steam with people saying they refused to buy the sequel until Valve made things right. Valve literally flew the organizers of the boycott to their studio to try to smooth things over. Guess what happened next? Yep, those same organizers were caught playing Left 4 Dead on launch week, and the rest of the group, a large percentage, bought it too. The game went on to sell millions. To give credit to Valve, at least they flew out those boycotters to let them try their game a week ahead of launch, to smooth things over with the community. I see what you did there, Gavin. All right, I see what you did there. And then we got the Pokemon Sword and Shield, aka the Dexit debacle of 2019. Fans were livid over Game Freak's decision to remove the national dex. Basically, you couldn't transfer all your old Pokemon into the new game. People made entire campaigns, hashtags like Bring Back National Dex trended, and YouTubers were putting out hour-long takedowns about Game Freak Live. It was serious outrage, and yeah, some of it was valid. The animations were stiff, the trees looked like they were ripped from Ocarina of Time, and the PR was a disaster. But guess what? Sword and Shield became one of the best-selling Pokemon games on the Switch. Over 25 million copies. That's not a boycott, that's a party. And even though the backlash did create long-term trust issues with Game Freak, you still see the Dexit drama resurface every time they announce a new game. It really didn't stop the sales. Not even close. So it almost seems like none of these video game boycotts really work. But why? Because the same people shouting into the void are often the same ones camping the digital storefront when it unlocks at midnight. And that includes me. By all accounts, we've seen people, myself included, say how bad $80 games are for the industry, how Nintendo's gotten greedy. Mario Kart World is great, don't get me wrong, but $80, that's a $60 game at best. Now, you can argue, well, not every boycott failed. What about the Xbox One? And that one kinda worked. But not because gamers suddenly developed collective willpower. The Xbox One boycott worked because Microsoft basically walked into a minefield wearing clown shoes. Let's rewind to 2013, aka Microsoft Hold My Beer era. The Xbox One reveal was less about gaming and more about selling you a cable box with a gaming hobby on the side. Remember that? They spent more time talking about TV and NFL partnerships than actual games. And then they hit us with the real gem. The console required a 24-hour online check-in. If you didn't log in, your system would lock up. They also said you couldn't trade used games like before because games were going to be tied to your account digitally. Gamers went feral. Sony capitalized on this immediately. Their infamous how to share games on PS4 video, it was literally just Yoshida handing a game to another developer. One of the pettiest, most effective PR assassinations in gaming history. And here's the kicker. Microsoft doubled down at first. Don Matrick, the guy in charge, literally said, if you don't have a consistent internet, we have a product for you. It's called the Xbox 360. That's not PR, that's a war crime. The backlash wasn't just online rage. It hit pre-orders. Retailers were reporting PlayStation 4 reservations outpacing the Xbox at nearly 3-1. Microsoft had no choice but to walk everything back, cancel the DRM stuff, drop the always online requirement, and pretend that the last 6 months were just a collective fever dream. But the damage? Done. Xbox One launched with a $100 price disadvantage, a bundled Connect no one asked for, and the image of a company that forgot gamers wanted to just play games, not wave their hands at menus like a budget Minority Report. That boycott hit where it hurts. Sales and reputation. The Xbox One ended up selling around 58 million units. That's less than half of what the PS4 did. And Microsoft spent the rest of the generation in recovery mode, canceling first-party games, buying studios, and trying to shake off the TV box image. So yeah, technically the Xbox One boycott worked, but it wasn't just because gamers got mad online. It worked because Microsoft built a console nobody wanted, wrapped it in anti-consumer nonsense, and then told people who didn't like it to go buy their old system. That's not a boycott victory, that's a marketing implosion. And even then, look at Microsoft now. They've rebranded as the pro-consumer platform with Game Pass, backwards compatibility, and crossplay, but still struggle with hardware sales compared to Nintendo and Sony. Turns out goodwill is harder to earn than to lose. But to be honest, these days, Microsoft isn't even going for hardware sales. They're just looking to own everything. Like, literally own everything. I swear Game Pass is going to be the worst thing to happen to video games. If they ever get their claws on Steam, we're Now, it could be said that Nintendo's boycott is still too early to call. Maybe it'll work. Maybe the Switch 2's overall sales will drop off over time. Right now, though, we've got third-party developers quietly admitting their games didn't sell nearly as well as Nintendo's first-party titles. And in some cases, they came in below their lowest sales estimates. And that could be for a bunch of reasons. Maybe people didn't want to download their game after buying a physical version. Maybe they dropped $80 on Mario Kart Worlds and didn't have extra cash to spend on anything else. Or maybe, just maybe, some folks didn't want to replay the games they already own on other platforms just because they got repackaged in a new box. There's no denying that this generation, Nintendo's getting really bold with their price tags. $80 games, upgrade fees. Yeah, this is Nintendo's greedy arc. Some people say it was inevitable, that someone had to be the first to push prices up, and Nintendo just happened to be the one to do it first. And to be fair, they're not alone in the fine print department. That new end-user agreement that lets them brick your console under certain conditions, Xbox and PlayStation have language that basically says the same thing, but people don't get as mad at them. Why? Because it's Nintendo. This is the company that it's always been as the kids' console, the family-friendly brand, the nostalgia machine, the one that always felt a little more innocent, where prices were stable and the business practices didn't feel quite so cold. So when they start dipping into the anti-consumer behavior that we usually associate with the other guys, yeah, it hits different. It pisses people off. I'm pissed off. And let's not act like bricking consoles is new behavior. Nintendo has been ridiculously aggressive when it comes to guarding their IP. They go after modders, emulators, fan games, homebrew. If you look at Mario Funny, they're already drafting a cease and desist. They protect their characters like Disney protects Mickey Mouse, and somehow manage to come off even more litigious about it. But despite all of that, despite the price hikes, the DRM, the EULA nonsense, and the IP crusades, there's no denying it. The Switch 2 is a better product. It is a meaningful upgrade in pretty much every way. Faster, smoother, more powerful, besides that dumb battery life. And that's what makes this more frustrating for people. A lot of fans probably just bought it, including myself, because it's what a lot of people wanted out of a Nintendo console. It just has a heavy asking price for certain games. But what do you guys think? Are you boycotting the system? Did you buy it already? Are you waiting for other games to come out? Let me know down in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe and all that stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.